the championship. This is gonna be the best day of Ryan Reese is the world champion.
Biggest day of my life.
Welcome back to the World Series of Poker main event. 183 players left. $10 million awaits a champion. I'm Lon McCarran with Norman Chad and Kara Scott. Poker pro Maria Ho is one of the stars still left in the game.
She's turning the main event into her own amazing race to the November 9.
Mark Newhouse still in contention for unlikely back-to-back main event final tables.
If he makes back-to-back main event final tables, I will climb the Sears Tower in flip-flops.
That's the chip leader, Brazil's Bruno Politano, stacked at over $5 million.
This guy snaps his fingers when he's looking for a card on an all-in, and it actually works.
Politano with a huge chip lead over the field, 7 Americans in the top 10.
And as usual of late, youth being served at the main event. No one in that top 10 over the age of 33.
At our feature table, there is Curtis Reistad, a big stack who has a way with words.
Yeah, he's allowed to talk. He's mic'd up.
The recipient of those words, Las Vegas pro Kyle Carradine. Here's Kara Scott with a report on what has transpired.
Curtis Reistad, a non-professional player from Portland, Oregon, who now lives in Mexico, has a different sort of way of dealing with the pros at the table. He's been very active with his table talk, and it's definitely starting to set some nerves on edge. I spoke with him at the break, and he says it is his intention to put players off balance, and he plans to keep on doing it. In fact, he really loves it when they pretend it doesn't bother them, and he can see that he's getting under their skin.
And boy, he gets under a lot of skin.
Instead of nothing personal, put a beat on him and just say something personal.
Oh, dude, I want to put a beat on him bad.
What did I do to make you upset? Just because I have more chips than you?
Oh, you do? Well, that's why I like it.
Is that it?
That's actually the most positive thing you got going for yourself. You can double me up.
I think everyone is wondering just how much fuse does Kyle have left at over $2.8 million. He is the big stack at this table.
One of the most underrated parts of tournament poker, your table draw. Just ask Kyle.
Curtis Reistad is the second biggest stack at this table.
When your focus is another player and not playing your best, things can go wrong. Curtis, ease off the gas, my man.
Blinds right now at 10 at 20,000 with a 3K ante. Folded to Kyle Carradine, the 32-year-old Minnesota native, ace-10 offsuit.
And Reistad just licking his chops, hoping Kyle enters the pot.
Kyle putting together a raise. That's 45,000. Adam Coates stuck in the middle here, a poker dealer from Washington State. Jack-9 of hearts. Folded to Reistad. Ace deuce suited.
This is going to be shocking, but I'm going to call.
Do you want to play a pot with him?
I almost didn't look, but I figure I have to look. That way you guys don't re-raise me calling blind.
I still might re-raise Curtis, knowing he's coming into pots with Kyle holding just about any 2 cards.
Here we go. Let the fun begin. What do you say, Clyde?
He calls Kyle Carradine Clyde again.
Heads up. 10 king-7 middle pair for Carradine. A miss for Reistad.
This feud is starting to take on a Nas Jay-Z quality.
Check, check. Jack of clubs gives both Broadway draws.
I actually think these two might enjoy running through water sprinklers together.
Carradine checks. Reistad drawing dead to scooping this pot, but does bet 60,000.
They could make paper airplanes together. That's worked for us, Lon.
It has indeed. Look how long we've been together. And there's the call with a pair of 10s.
He won't look at him, but Kyle has Curtis in his sights.
River card, 5 of spades. So Carradine is best with the 10s. Check. Check. And Carradine will take that one.
Score 1 for the besieged poker pro.
Best way to muzzle your irritating opponent, take their chips.
Nice hand, Kyle.
Thanks.
You're not playing as aggressive as you were at the early of the tables.
Maybe I wasn't playing that aggressive at all. Maybe I just had hands.
Well, that'd be true, except I snap called you with that jack, and I was right when you check-shoved on me. Check-raised me.
For the first time in his life, Kyle probably wishes he wasn't fluent in English.
All right, we got 151 minutes left to play together. Let's just keep it friendly. Try to enjoy ourselves here.
Yeah, but I've been having such a bad time. Hey, Joe. Does it look like I'm having a bad time?
Miserable.
On a day where the main event condensed to fewer than 200 players, Kyle Karanen and Curtis Reistat have stood out from the field. Sure, both have well above average stacks, but it's their verbal confrontations that have attracted the most attention. It seems that the 32-year-old Karanen and the 44-year-old Reistat have a hate-hate relationship on the felt, Norman.
If Curtis Reistat played solitaire, I believe he would trash talk himself. His game plan here is simple. Get under Kyle Karanen's skin. But there's a fine line between playing the game and being a schlemiel. Reistat says it's all in fun, but he's the only one laughing. Besides, if he really wants to get the best of Kyle Karanen, it's not enough to out-talk him. He's going to have to outplay him.
Curtis is walking a sharp edge here. Kyle is the only one who can double him up, but Kyle is the only one who can knock him out at this point also. All right, back to action at the featured table. Timur Margolin raised in middle position with Trey Deuce suited. It's folded now to Kyle in the big blind with 2 threes.
And I'm not eating trail mix. It wasn't part of the getup. You know, it just on purpose.
I don't know what cowboy junk food is. Is that what trail mix? Is that what it is? I
think so.
The Cowboy Joe LaCaruba is actually a New York dentist.
A big stack here. Kyle Karanen now with the pocket pair re-raises to 105,000. Back to Margolin, 30-year-old, born in Ukraine, but moved to Israel at age 6. He's a poker pro.
3 deuce suited, a good home game hand.
Right.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic at TV tables, Lon. 2 types of players, those that tighten up and those that like to show off.
And there's a call from Margolin.
In his first main event, Margolin wants to get his money's worth.
All right, here's the flop. 8-4 deuce. How about that? Karanen's trays are still good, even though Margolin hit that board.
A pretty safe flop for Karanen's pocket threes.
And he will bet 125,000. Margolin now, who has a piece of that flop.
Yeah, he's thinking pretty good flop for me. I paired my deuce, and he just might have big cards.
That often happens. And there's a call. Turn card now. Ace of diamonds, both now with a wheel draw.
I'd have to say Curtis has a somewhat unhealthy fascination with Kyle.
And now Kyle will put out 260,000.
Margolin is a big New York Knicks fan of all things, so he's used to playing from behind.
Kyle is a well-traveled poker pro. Not easily scared of a turned ace, and he does get Margolin to fold.
Karanen makes it look easy.
Kyle Karanen now over 3,330,000 at this featured table, and that's not the result Curtis Reistat was looking for. The 2014 World Series of Poker is dealt by the WSOP social game on Facebook and mobile. Sit and go tournaments are starting right now. Download for free. To the main event, we have just lost another player. David Einhorn, the billionaire hedge fund manager, out in 173rd place. Another very respectable finish. He finished 18th back in 06.
He just increased his net worth by like 1/10
This was a challenging tournament for me because I never really accumulated chips. And so I was below average stack literally from the end of the first level on the first day. And to just kind of hang in there, you know, and catch a few cards and play like I did, I'm real happy with this result.
So now we're looking at 20 tables of action remaining in this year's main event. And one of our first-timers, Brad Tuck, is looking to double up with a flop straight. He called all in with 43 big blinds, hoping to dodge trouble from Jeff Loiacono and his flush draw.
Loiacono, California pro, who cashed also in last year's main event.
Use of spades. Mother fudgesicles.
Sorry, man. Loiacono scores the flush and the knockout.
I hate when they say sorry after knocking someone out. Ever see boxers do that?
That's what I get for flopping the nuts.
Tuck is gone. Loiacono sits with nearly 2.5 million chips. Good main event debut for the Canadian amateur. Other first-timers still in the field. Tom Serra Jr. with a below-average stack now.
39-year-old poker dealer, all of Youngstown, Warren, and Girard, Ohio, rooting for him.
And your favorite first-timer, Marcia Kuntz, the divorce attorney from Maryland.
She's top-notch, so I did the Tony Soprano thing. I talked with her so that my wife couldn't hire her.
To Mickey Aoki, who turned a king-high flush and put out a river bet of 275 after Eddie Sabat checked, holding just a pair of fours with an ace.
Sabat, a 28-year-old L.A. pro.
All right, clock. I need a clock on myself.
I tried to call the clock on myself during my second marriage.
But she beat you to it.
Floor 378.
Eddie's struggling with this.
I can't see
Seat 9 called time on himself.
Can't call time on yourself.
No, I can't see the clock.
That's sufficient time, 2 minutes or more. You have 50 seconds stacked on your hand. If you haven't acted, you get a 10-second count.
Well, someone else helped him out and called a clock on him.
Let me make it easy for Eddie. Forget the fact that the flush got there on the turn. You were beat by your jacks on the flop.
Eddie makes the call. And, yeah, he'll never see those chips again. A nice pot for Aoki as Sabat knocked down to below 600,000.
The Concordia College grad in her first main event.
Web designer from Bozeman, Montana, finished second in this year's World Series ladies event. Bruno Politano now still holding on to his overall chip lead on day 5 as we go back to the featured table where Curtis Reistad has been a huge mosquito buzzing around Kyle Karanen.
So, Clyde, do you golf?
I play. I'm not the best, but
Oh, I'd be glad to play it.
I shoot around 90.
We can go play for some cash if you'd like.
Might take you up on that.
Huh?
So I might take you up on that.
I'll play you for whatever we win in the tournament. Straight up. Right
Gee,
now.
Let me blindly agree to that.
Race. I'll play you for your stack golf.
That would mean that you guys might be in the same cart together. At least you got somebody between the two of you.
Oh, God. Don't bring me in on it. No, I'm just kidding.
Listen right now. I'm bringing my Larry Misplaced Cowboy as my caddy.
Oh, I play too, buddy.
Oh.
I play too.
Let's play for stacks.
I don't think it's a good idea for Curtis and Kyle to have golf clubs in each other's company.
Good idea. Stu Rudder raised to 42,000. Karanen called. Over to Reistad now. 8 deuce. He folds.
I'll tell you what, Clyde. We'll play. Winner has to buy the other guy into next year's main event. Kyle.
I mean, golf's one of those games where if you're better than somebody, you just beat them every time. I mean, it's not like I have a sporting chance. If you're better than me, you'll beat me. That's how it works. It's not a gambling game unless you handicap it.
Golf's not a gambling game.
Well, unless you handicap it. If you want to play straight up against somebody who's better than you,
or something?
it's stupid.
I don't get it.
Kyle's actually the only one here making any sense, and he barely gets in a word edgewise.
3 players already in the hand. Small blind Christopher Graves. 6-4, he folds.
I've played for a lot of money on the golf
Yeah,
course
I mean,
before.
we'll take your handicap, my handicap, and make it even. We play. Whoever plays better that day wins money.
Well, that would be me.
You know it's a good gambling game? Candyland.
3 players will see the flop. 1 pocket pair, ace, queen, and some suited connectors. The flop, 4, deuce, jack, 2 clubs. Stu Rudder missed. Karanen still with the best hand with the 5s.
Rudder went to Oxford University. He's a director at a logistical solutions company.
He checks.
Karanen in his familiar pose, which usually leads to his familiar flop bet.
Reaching for some of the green chips worth $25K each. And he'll bet $74,000 to Gabe Paul, who's now the favorite with the flush draw.
Karanen went to Drake. Paul went to DePaul. That's a good matchup.
How can you not enjoy this? I mean, let me see.
I know.
If I get busted, I get a check for over $30,000.
It's up to 45 now.
Oh, is it 45 now? I don't know. I'm not paying attention. I don't care.
Turn card. Tray of spades.
Curtis, what's your handicap?
Kyle's open-ended.
He might kill his action if he says.
I see some bluffs coming on that.
We're bluffing, baby. I'm putting it out there. You know, we play golf. If you beat me, I'll pay for your ticket. So this
Kyle
is next
in
year.
a nice spot here. took control of the pot on the flop. Now he's picked up a straight draw to go with his pair, and he's got the big stack.
I was talking to you, and you ended up talking to him.
You asked me. You said you were killing my action.
Keranen, 177 into Gabe Paul.
We always talk about the power of position. Here we see the power of the big stack. Paul didn't raise the flop. Now he's faced with a big turn bet.
Does he want to chase more? He does not, and Keranen will take that pot.
Keranen again makes it look easy.
Kyle Keranen over $3.5 million, keeping his eyes on the prize. The working conditions are not ideal, but Kyle Keranen is all business. He's got a top 5 stack now. Next week at 9 p.m. Eastern with 2 new episodes.
Oh, that's a shame. That's a full boat. Thanks for playing. Any pot. Blind, I'm going to call.
You're the man.
Because I'm going to stack you.
You're the man.
Gone.
Back at the Rio for the 45th World Series of Poker main event. At one of the outer tables, poker pro Dan Smith quietly accumulating a big stack. Dan is as tough as they come and has the respect of all the best players in the world. But does he have your respect, Norman? He went to Maryland.
Well, apparently he was too smart for Maryland, left there after 1 year. And since then, he has been wildly successful around the world, particularly at EPT events and in high rollers.
Smith just picked up aces after Andrew Liberace raised with Jack-10 of clubs. Dan makes it $92,000 to go, so back to the under-the-gun raiser.
27-year-old Miami pro with a business degree from Loyola University in New Orleans. He used to work in real estate.
Liberace with $68,000 in live earnings compared to Dan Smith, 2 years his junior, with $8.3 million in live earnings. Liberace makes the call. Heads up now, the flop. Deuce, king, king, 2 clubs.
In 2012, Smith won 3 5K events in 4 days at the EPT in Monte Carlo. He also had 2 7-figure scores in high rollers at Aussie Millions and EPT Barcelona.
Smith has aces up, but he's vulnerable. Liberace with the flush draw. $50,000 from Smith.
Yeah, scary looking flop for Smith, but he puts out a small bet, a feeler bet, like we used to call it at our Elks Lodge game.
Liberace starting the hand with just over $400,000. Smith a big stack here with almost $2.5 million. Liberace makes the call.
Oh, Smith just looked back at his hand and saw 7 deuce off.
Turn card 9 of diamonds.
Liberace checking the board on the monitor. It's right in front of him on the table.
Liberace adds a gut shot.
Check. That's a verbalized check, Lon, as we used to call it at our Elks Lodge game.
Liberace now.
Yeah, Liberace doesn't know what to do. Channeling my entire decade of the 90s.
Well, the pros say when a guy looks at his stack, he's going to bet. Well, look at this. He's going to bet. All in.
Call.
And a call with the aces. Liberace with outs.
Liberace could see the board if you want to right in front of him. There he goes.
Andrew's face indicated he wanted his shove to end things. Dan had other ideas.
Liberace needs a queen for a straight or any club other than an ace.
The river is the 7 of hearts, and that will close out Andrew Liberace's main event for 2014. The payout just over $52,000 now.
Yeah, that phone should direct him to the payout cage.
Smith scores the knockout and absorbs the last of his victims' chips. So now he closes in on $3 million. His background in another game has helped him to the top of the tournament poker world.
When I was 6 or 7, I started playing chess at the local library, and I just really had a knack for it. I eventually started competing in tournaments, first just in my town, then up the state, and then all over the country. And I did that for quite a few years up until I was a teenager. I've beaten a handful of grandmasters, but at a certain point, it just felt like a job almost that I wasn't really enjoying. I saw poker on TV and it looked so easy, and I figured there's a lot more money in it. I think I wouldn't be the poker player I am today if not for chess, and for that I'm super grateful. I really think it was good for my mind, and as far as preparation for playing live tournaments for a living, in poker, most of the time you're not in a hand. In chess, you can't take any moves off, you know? Chess is much less forgiving, so I think it was great preparation for being a future poker player.
I would have stuck with chess. Nobody in chess ever says, that's what I'm talking about. Nobody in chess ever says, that's chess. Nobody in chess ever says, ship it.
Smith on the button with king 9 of spades. I think he's one good argument for Phil Ivey not being the best in the world right now.
Oh, man, that's not fair.
45,000 is the raise from Smith. Tony Roberto with more than 2.3 million on Dan's left elbow here in the small blind.
And you can never get sucked out when it's checkmate. Checkmate is a no-outer.
Folded to Jeffrey Chang in the big blind, king 10 off.
37-year-old Washington, D.C. attorney. Maybe he knows Marsha Kuntz. Then again, there are more than 77 million lawyers in the D.C. area.
He makes the call. We'll go heads up against Dan Smith. Smith has no World Series bracelets, and that's such a stark benchmark. A lot of people don't give him enough credit. Here is the flop. 7, 6, 10 rainbow. Top pair for Chang. A gut shot for Smith. Chang checks.
Plus, they dress better in chess. I never saw Boris Spassky in a sweatsuit or a hoodie.
50,000 from Smith in the sweatsuit.
Chang busted Daniel Negreanu on day 3 of this main event. Why don't you check raise here?
Chang started the hand with just over 700,000, makes that call. Turn card. Jack of diamonds. The 10s are still best for Chang. Smith now double gutted. Chang checks again.
Smith originally aimed to get a chess scholarship to the University of Maryland, but says chess just stopped being fun. This looks like fun, though, huh?
He mentioned poker pays a little better. And now, Dan Smith trying to suss out his opponent. This is where he is at his best. He does bet 150,000.
Pressure, pressure, pressure. Smith, like Kyle Karanin, applying big stack pressure. Great tournament players are so tough line. They bet every big hand, they bet every draw, and sometimes they bet with nothing.
And there is a call from Chang. He does have the best hand here. Ooh, Dan looks a little insulted by that call.
Gives him an ushka look.
River card. 5 of spades, so Chang's 10s are best. But he checks again. Now Dan Smith, who firmly believes he is one of the best in the game.
With nothing.
Got nothing but chips here.
All in.
He says all in, and that would put Chang all in.
We've heard Antonio Esfandiari and Phil Locke talk about this on Pro Analysis. When you have just one pair, it's hard to commit your entire stack. Smith seems to sense this about Chang's hand.
And Smith also can afford to be wrong here. But he is right with that bet as Chang folds.
Dan Smith is rolling.
Smith will collect more chips, but a victory's a little sweeter when you win a pot with a worst hand. He is making his moves at the main event, charging up the leaderboards, now sitting with over 3.2 million. There's remaining 10 million on the line for first place. Big main event action in the Amazon room, but there's more than just that. Here's the next installment of the Side Action Championship.
Tonight's event is dealing. Players must deal cards to a 9-handed table. Each card that touches the box is worth 1 point. Each card that misses the box is minus 1 point. Extra points are awarded for speed. Our current leader, Mike Matusow, will start us off.
Mike's the only one of us who has actual dealer experience.
Sorry, as bad as you play poker, you better learn how to deal.
Go right ahead.
What am I doing?
What was that about how you had an unfair advantage, Mike? Yeah, what is that? Well, you got 1 point so far. You got 2.
2 points for time.
So you're going to get a total of 2 points. 2 points for time, 0 points on the deal.
Well done, Mike. Wow.
So, Mike, what'd you used to do before you played poker?
And now up, the Poker Brat.
Oh, my God. Phil's looking good here.
My goodness.
He's going to make the 15 seconds.
Phil.
And now it's JRB.
What? You're getting ready? He's going? Okay.
Well, he's drawing.
Wow. That's a misdeal. Keep going. There's no misdeal.
Keep going. I'm trying to get Eastfield credit. He missed out. He missed out there, Morris. It's a misdeal.
It's after 15 seconds. You're disqualified. You're disqualified. You got to be within 15 seconds.
You have the skill of a firefighter. It was a misdeal. 2 cards came off.
You know many? Look, another card exposed. Wow, I just froze. Phil Locke needs 12 points to get first place. It's cherry bomber time.
I want to tell you guys something. The 4 of us are none of us are ever bad to the dealers, ever.
No, that's
Not
true.
us 4.
That's true. That's true.
No. Quiet here, man. He's doing some kind of meditation bull.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
I don't think he's going to make the 15 seconds.
Second place.
Oh, my God.
Take a solid second.
That was impressive. That was funny.
After 2 events, Helmuth and Matiso tied for first.
That hurts. Bring him and get much better.
I gotta say, you're a natural game show host. Have you ever thought about leaving the poker booth, maybe to host Joker's Wild or something like that?
Unfortunately, I have a face for radio game shows.
Karen, unfortunately, has been dealt pocket jacks. Margolin already raised with 7-6 of diamonds.
Karen with the Lon McCarran Memorial Hand.
It's the only thing that can stop his forward progress. A re-raise to 115. Adam Coates with ace-6 of spades. Adam stuck in the middle of the Kyle Curtis feud the whole time at this featured table. Folds ace-6. Now back to Margolin.
Margolin keeps raising light, and Karen keeps coming over the top of him, and Margolin keeps calling. This reminds me of Saved by the Bell. Every episode is the same.
Margolin started the hand with just under 1 million chips. Here's the flop, heads up, 6-deuce-4. The pocket jacks hold up. Margolin now with a pair of 6s. Karen checks his jacks, and a check back from Margolin. Turn card, Queen of Clubs. Karen still best, but checks again. Now Margolin, who has not seen any post-flop aggression from Kyle.
Yeah, so he might figure his 6s are good with Kyle checking the flop and the turn.
112,000 from Margolin. Karen doesn't want to go anywhere yet.
Well, when we've seen Kyle enter pots, he's had a really good read of the situation.
River card. 8 of diamonds, so Karen's pocket jacks are best.
Almost every time we look up Lon, it says 4% or 2% or 0% next to Margolin's name.
Karen took control of the betting pre-flop and then went check, check. Now he wants to lead out for 185.
I can't figure this out. I mean, Margolin had bet the queen on the turn. Kyle checked the flop in the turn, as you mentioned. Now he leads out on the river when a useless 8 of diamonds hits. Margolin is beflummoxed.
But he does manage to fold third pair, and Karen will stack the chips again.
Karen is bewitching. He makes it look easy again.
The better things get for Kyle, the worse things get for Curtis. Hard to claim that Rystad has been a distraction. Kyle Karen going about his business, climbing his way to the top of the main event leaderboard.
Laughed at it, right? When you make a joke, you're supposed to laugh at it.
Let's hear you tell a joke.
I thought this was a poker table. Somebody's giving away chips for running your mouth.
Well, then I'm already in the lead.
There's the laugh. There it is. Yes. Yes.
Back in Las Vegas for continuing coverage of the main event. Lon McCarran with Norman Chad and Kara Scott. This year's tournament started with nearly 6,700 players. As day 5 winds down, we're approaching 150 remaining. 4 women left. But the biggest story just might be Mark Newhouse's quest for back-to-back final tables.
Dan Harrington, the last to do that at the main event in 2003 and 4.
Curtis Rystad may come off as the clown prince here, but off the felt, this father of 3 has a very serious perspective on how he wants his children to view the world.
I'm born in Portland, Oregon. My mother's from Guadalajara, Mexico, and living there right now for 1 year. A lot of times people, you grow up in a bubble and you're not exposed to different things. And especially, in the United States, we're very lucky. You hit the lottery if you're born here and do a family that's doing well. There's so many other people that are struggling around the world that you don't want people to, take things for granted. So I think that if my kids get exposed to more of the planet, they'll have a greater appreciation for other people, other situations, and have a better understanding. That's just going to help them throughout their life. think a great experience for our kids. As soon as school's out, say, hey, let's live in Greece for 6 weeks. And the next year say, hey, let's go to Australia for 6 weeks. Let's go different parts of the globe and really get to know the planet and see different things. If you get to live in a different country, you know, it gives you a lot better perspective.
I've got to give Curtis props here for his forward-thinking world perspective.
Come on, you guys. I'm on him. Hey, Cowboy Joe. Give me that last right. We're going to have to whip these guys into shape. Get the chips in there.
I'm waiting. Pull it out.
Help the dealer out.
Rystat does not have an off button.
Tough times here in the main event for the short and even medium stacks. One wrong decision or bad card could make you a main event statistic.
Oh, confirmed.
Codes folds to Rystat. Pocket tens.
He's been a house painter and a loan officer. He's currently an investor. He might have a future in one-man plays.
I think it's just about using the wrong number. That'll make the difference. See the respect factor instantly.
46,000 now is the raise.
46?
There you see? I knew it was going to work.
When he travels the world, I wonder if Curtis properly melds into the different cultures or trash talks locals.
Graves in the small blind.
I'm not ready to mess with you yet.
Suited ace in the muck. Cowboy Joe now.
Irish. Oh, oops.
Queen 10 of clubs.
I forgot about New York City. He's still in the hand.
Come on, Lynn.
New York, I'm going to have to call you.
Yeah. All right.
La Caruba at risk against the pocket tens of Rystat.
Yeah, Curtis has been showing down hands like Queen 4 and Jack 5, so the Cowboy Dennis thought Queen 10 might be good.
Cowboy Joe had to buy a new hat this morning when he locked his old one with the keys in the car. Flop King Ace 9, a Broadway draw for Cowboy Joe, but the tens are still good for Curtis. Turn card. 8 of clubs, flush draw for La Caruba.
You just got to pick up a lot of outs, Joe.
Jack, Queen, club. I'm not going to look.
Joe, go with the rally hat. You know, the hat backwards. Don't bury your face.
River cards the 9 of diamonds. La Caruba comes up short.
Joe, sorry. Hey, good luck on raising money for the. Good luck for raising the money on that.
Thanks a lot.
It was a pleasure playing with you.
Second main event cash for La Caruba, and he's donating 10% of his winnings to a children's charity.
This cash worth over $52,000 for Cowboy Joe.
I'm not always raising with Queen 4, guys. You know, sometimes I'm going to wake up and have something.
The Queen 4 hand Curtis is referring to happened earlier on day 5. He took great pleasure in cracking Kyle Karenan's aces.
Call. Oh, that's a shame. That's a full boat. Thanks for playing. Any pot. Blind, I'm going to call.
You're the man.
Because I'm going to stack you.
You're the man.
Gone. Get in pots with me, please. I want the full value.
Yeah, you got it there, man. Got that one bet. That's full value.
Well, you can't put them. I can't get them from you if you don't put them in.
I've been at the table for what, an hour and a half now, and you've said repeated the Queen 4 like 14 times.
You weren't here when I had it, were you?
It was right when I got it.
Hey, Kyle doesn't have to do the dirty work anymore. Somebody else is calling him that.
You got a partner here.
You don't know what you're getting yourself into, sir.
That was a good comment, Kyle. I like it. There you go, Kyle. See,
we're getting along famously.
Yeah, I just want to have fun, man.
Stuart called it.
I even laugh at Kyle's comments. See.
I've got a few comments here and there.
Right.
I thought they were Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr. Instead, they're turning into Franklin and Bash.
This detente, glass nose, the truce, it can't be.
Like I say, I'd rather be lucky than good.
Rystat, King 10 suited.
This worked so well last time. Does that make it 46, I think? Gabe, that extra 1,000's the difference in the tournament right now.
I was going to call for 45. Now I'm probably going to fold.
Chris. I knew it was. I was just missing the right number. It wasn't the fact that you know.
It was.
It was
so much.
Exactly.
So strategy 2.3 is his number.
Oh, makes no difference to me. Cool.
He's not afraid of an extra 1,000.
Now, if I can remember how he said the Americans say Stuart, I'd say it to you the right way now. Stuart. Stuart.
Ace high still best for Rudder. He checks.
I'm going to bet. I'm going to bet 42,000.
42,000 is the bet.
Well, unfortunately, that's the end of the foot.
Curtis will take it.
Still got an extra 1,000.
Where's the cashier window?
Back-to-back pots for Curtis Rystad, and the tide seems to be turning with his nemesis Kyle Karanen.
All the way out there, guys. Help her out. Help her out.
Poker Festival winding down in Las Vegas. This year there were 65 events, the last one the main event. At an outer table, we're going to check in with Mark Newhouse, 9th place last year, down to the final 16 tables this year with a decent-sized stack. Mark on the left flopped an open-ender against Hugh Wynn on the right, who leads with 9 high. Newhouse bets 175.
That's a decent-sized pot for 6 tray against 9-8, and neither has a hand yet. That flop bet should take it down.
Wynn, 37 years old, lives in Falls Church, Virginia. His family owns a jewelry store, and he will come along with the best hand, 9 high.
By the way, Newhouse and Wynn, great names for a main event champion.
Oh, you're right about that. So that pairs Newhouse, so his 6s now are the best hand, and he checks this time.
You may recall Wynn had 9-8 and bet his straight draw against Marsha Kuntz's quad 10s.
Bad timing. And speaking of bad timing, Wynn bets 200,000 here now with the worst hand.
He takes a stab at it now. They're playing poker, Lon, not chess.
Newhouse puts Wynn all in. Mark pretty confident that Wynn is weak.
The check raise from Newhouse, very nice. Every time I try that move on the turn with Mark's cards, I run into 2 pair or a set. This should work, though. No way Wynn can call here. He's got no hand.
Yeah, he painted himself into a corner. He tried to take the pot, but with 9 high and a gut shot, he now has to excuse himself from the proceedings.
Newhouse can be spewy, but man, he's got some great instincts.
So Hugh Wynn did his best to win that pot, and his chip stack will take a step backwards while Newhouse crosses into 2 million chip territory.
Can he really get there again? November 9 last year? This year?
Another high finisher from a previous main event still in, Brian Devonshire.
One of my favorites. He makes any poker game more enjoyable.
Spain's Andoni Larrave has been in the top 10 for most of day 5.
22-year-old poker pro, currently living in London.
All right, we go from the outer tables back to the featured table. There you see the chip counts for the players at the featured table. Karanen and Rystad, still the top stacks there. Rystad with King 10 offsuit in middle position. Does everything with a sly grin on his face. 42,000.
Extra 2. Extra 2 for me.
To Margolin.
That's an extra 2 for me.
Big blind.
Come on.
Ace 5.
So it's 42.
The 2. Timur, the 2 is what makes the difference.
Yeah, but you did it bigger before, actually.
Yeah, but I didn't put any yellow ones in, which is the key.
No, you did. Yeah, I'm going to call. I think it's smaller. It's not bigger.
You think what?
It's smaller than what it was before, not bigger.
Oh, so you're saying it's the size, not the... I thought it was the yellow chips. I'm going to have to remember what it was. 46.
No, you're saying you're adding, but you're actually
I took 4,000 cheaper.
There are a lot of poker conversations I'd rather forget.
Timur is right. It was 46 before. 7 King Jack. Margolin misses. Rystad now with a pair of kings. Checked over to Rystad.
Hold on. I want to make sure this is right. 46.
Okay.
Is that better?
Now you're back to the original. So.
All right. Well, I mean, obviously the 42 didn't work, so we're going with 46.
42 or 46 should work. Margolin doesn't have much of a hand to call.
But Margolin has chips in hand, and there's a call.
Well, Margolin doesn't like moving on to the next hand. He likes to live in the moment.
All right, turn card is an ace. Top pair for Margolin, but it also brings a 3rd club to the board. Margolin checked it. Curtis, now with a Broadway draw, checks back. 9 of spades on the river. Pair of aces for Margolin is best.
If I knew what Margolin were going to do here, I'd be worried for myself.
Curtis's mom.
Don't jinx it.
You're going for a lot of chips. I like it.
98. That's 2 times 46.
In your world, I'm sure it is.
All right, a little more.
Curtis has played this well so far. Bet went ahead on the flop, checked one behind on the turn. Let's see if he pays off Margolin.
Timo, I actually think you wanted me to bet the turn.
Curtis finds a fold.
I didn't even see what it was. Okay.
I don't like Margolin's November 9 prospects, but I've been wrong before.
Margolin now over 1 million chips thanks to top pair.
Hi, Sam.
Thank you.
That was not a very good turn.
Yeah, I imagine. With the king, you don't like that turn.
Yeah, I don't like that turn in many ways. Flush, ace.
Straight got there, everything got there.
Yeah, everything got there. I don't know what you had, but I think you had me beat.
All of us. 2014 World Series of Poker is dealt by the WSOP Circuit Tour. First the ring, then the bracelet. For the official schedule and events in your area, visit WSOP.com. A scene from earlier in the main event. Tables breaking rapidly as players busted. All right, we get our first look this year at Leaf Force, comfortably in second place with nearly $5 million. Leaf finished 11th back in 06, the year David Einhorn finished 18th. Griffin Benger also over the 4 million chip mark. Griffin, a former star in the gamer world. But let's catch up with Maria Ho now. Maria with Jack 10 of clubs. She has nearly 1.3 million chips to work with.
She was 38th at the main event in 2007, the year that she was last woman standing.
From early position, a raise to 53,000 from Maria. 282 women entered the main event, a total field of almost 6,700. Folded around to Jack Schonbacher in the small blind with pocket queens.
I didn't think that Jack Schonbacher was a main event champion worthy name, but I'm rooting for him now. 31-year-old Pittsburgh pro, and he went to LaRoche College in Pittsburgh. I love Pittsburgh.
He started the hand with about 800,000. He re-raises to 137,000. Folded now back to Maria Ho with Jack 10 of clubs.
Her original game was Limit Hold'em. She started playing a lot just before the moneymaker poker boom, and back then it was mostly Limit Hold'em.
Maria makes the call. Maria, a UC San Diego graduate, majored in communications, minored in law. The flop, 9 king, 10 no clubs, both with a gut shot. Pair of queens still good for Schonbacher.
Both might be worried about that flop hitting the other's hand.
Check to Maria, who picked up middle pair. She checks. Turn card now. 4 of clubs, no change. Schonbacher checks.
When Maria was in college, she played a lot at the Indian casinos in Southern California.
And now, after Schonbacher had checked to her twice, Maria reaching for chips, 160,000.
I believe Maria thinks she's best right now. I don't know what Schonbacher is thinking. I love Pittsburgh, but I've never been able to figure out anybody from that town.
Schonbacher with about $1,300,000 in live tournament earnings. And he makes that call. River card now. Ace of diamonds.
Since the flop, Schonbacher hasn't liked it much.
Quick check from him.
By the way, since when do I know what a woman is thinking? I take back whatever I said about Maria a moment ago.
Wow. And now Maria Ho, who has Schonbacher easily covered. That's 350,000. That's about 70% of what Schonbacher has left.
Well, for Schonbacher, it's the old, do I want to make a last stand with one pair dilemma? The answer is usually no.
2 overcards to Schonbacher's pocket queens out there. And he does fold. Maria Ho stares him down and steals the pot.
She plays limit and no limit hold'em very well.
Maria Ho now over 1.6 million. Well-timed aggression, even though she maybe thought she had the best hand. All right, time now for the DraftKings.com King of the Night. That honor going to Kyle Karanen. Kyle managed to keep his composure despite numerous verbal attacks from his tablemate, Curtis Reistad.
I think that's part of his strategy, is to try and get underneath my skin and try and get me to make bad choices, which, I mean, I can't blame him. It's poker. Luckily, it didn't work out.
Are you going to go golfing with him?
I mean, honestly, I sort of started to like the guy after a while, so maybe we'll see. I could see playing around a golf with him.
Okay, thank you.
We're going to bring our cameras for that one. All right, a look at the top 10 with 142 players remaining. Politano still on top, 4 million chip stacks, 3 million chip stacks.
And I see another young, sharp mind is rising. Cornell grad and bracelet winner Brian Hastings now in 6th.
Kyle Karanen and Curtis Reistad are slowly warming up to each other.
You don't know what you're getting yourself into, sir.
That was a good comment, Kyle. I like it. There you go, Kyle. See,
we're getting along famously.
Yeah, I just want to have fun, man.
Dan Smith is heating up.
Call.
Just 142 players remain, but there's still a long road ahead.
Yes.
For Norman Chad and Kara Scott, I'm Lon McCarran. This